I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders.
What up? What up? What up? Welcome back into Pregaming here on Sports Money, number one spot to catch all of your last minute details, specifics, injury updates, you name it. We're going to talk a little bit about all of it as it relates to trying to make informed betting decisions. Just as I thought this industry could only move up, I heard a reputable channel today talk about doing something new. They're going to keep track of their best bets they give out. I thought that was nice. I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Monday to everybody. I'm just trying to get a couple things in place here for this card. And look, normally we fumble around a little bit, get some time for everybody to come in, but there are two official plays that I made here for this early spot. Right off the gate, I'll tell you this with this Phillies game, and then we'll talk about some other stuff, and we'll get back to it here. But, look, sharp respected bettors coming in here, banging in on these Phillies. Got to know that right off the gate. It makes a lot of sense. It's a home team. Jesus is on the mound, and their back's against the wall after watching, really an anomaly happen last game. And the anomaly isn't so much that Ohtani pitched well, it's that he went into the sixth inning, because that's the first time I think all season that had happened. And so, kind of shut the boys down a little bit, nuked some of them offenses and opportunities. So, look, 68% of the bets and 56% of the cash are on the Dodgers. It's come down 13 cents. Red flag for the Dodgers. Now, the challenge with any trends and stats, and you get down to these playoff games, is any given night, anything can fucking happen. We've seen that time and again. 92% of the bets, 91% of the cash are on the over. And I will tell you this. Actually, I screwed up. Excuse me. Let me fix this. There we go. This is what this should read as. All right. So I player propped a parlay together. I've got Blake Snell to go under 7.5 strikeouts today in this Phillies game. I think we've got look, this is back against the wall for Philadelphia. You got the best home team in the best bounce back off a loss position out there, taking on a guy in Blake Snell that they're certainly not scared of. And plenty of examples, plenty of looks, plenty of opportunities to go out there and figure out this guy's game plan. And then I parlayed it together with Imanaga under 3.5 Ks. So we'll talk about why I got to that on the Cubs side of things here. Against them Brewers, I expect them to get busted up. So I think Shota Imanaga, and we look in zooming in, how's he done in his last couple of weeks versus maybe his overall season performance, and it ain't there. And I'll tell you all about it. Now, I took the Phillies, as I mentioned, dangerous. Got team backed against the wall, at home, in that bounce back, kicking the shit out of everybody position, and I very much expect them to do that. I think it's 20 or 21 straight bounce back at home spots. It's pretty, I don't know where it is. I don't know. Let me see. I have it here. No. And then last but not least, I got to go to the over. Now, here's the thing. If you kind of follow some of these, we know the trends, and it's Moneyball with the, Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill movie. You're trying to recreate the season in the aggregate, and look, we'll stand on it. You show me one person that's had an MLB season anywhere near what we've done here. I think it's literally like breaking the internet, as far as, not breaking the internet, but it's breaking some bookies. I know that. Sitting at about 140 units in the baseball season, all 1 unit bets, none of that chasing bullshit, none of that doubling and tripling. Here's 4 plays on the same fucking game because the line moved a couple times. None of that. Just winning. But when you get to the finals, so you get down to some of these final games, now you're trying, you can't just recreate in the aggregate. You have to, somebody's got to step up and make some plays now. So pitching matchups, pitching duels do become a little bit more of a factor in these processes. I reference that because Jesus Luzardo 7-0 to the under when he's in the dog roll. His games are finding unders on a regular basis. I like his over outs prop as well. But you got to shop that around. I got it at 14.5 earlier today, and it's like 15.5 now. Think about that. The difference in that is either he completes the end of the 5th inning or he goes into the 6th inning. That's a big deal when you got your back against the wall. You know, you want to go to LA and be down 2-0 to this Dodger squad and give them that advantage. Now, it's shitty that they're coming in off a rest. The NL took the day off of yesterday. They had the AL rolling yesterday. Shout out to them, Toronto Blue Jays. We'll talk about them shortly. But look, Dodgers, 9-0 to the over. Postseason, non-divisional opponent, as long as it's not the finals. Phillies, 6-0 to the over. As long as they're not a huge favorite off a loss. In a bounce-back position. The over continues to connect because them bats get hot. They're just too good a team. It's almost a converse situation to the Milwaukee Brewers. What I mean by that is I talked all season about the Brewers and their performance and their bats. And then when we started saying they're going to fall off, they fell off. Well, the Phillies bats aren't built to fall off. They're built to stay strong. As are the Dodgers. And you're giving them some rest, so I get that. Dodgers are 10-0 in non-divisional games after a road win. If they didn't score in the first 2 runs. I don't know how that one relates or correlates. It's just that it's another strong over non-divisional spot. And the Phillies roll it out at 8-0 to the over if their bullpen allowed more than 2 runs. So that was the case Saturday. It was disappointing. It was a heartbreaker. But probably a little bit of a contrarian play. You know, you're probably hearing about a lot of unders. I mean, the unders have been cashing, kicking ass and taking names, and it's easy just to go back and fire on these unders. And I just think that, you know, you do have to step back a little bit. You do have to look at this thing in the bigger picture and say, look, I don't want to say he got lucky. That's not true. It's not true. It feels like they got lucky with the what do you call it there? The fucking Ohtani pitching. Thank you. I'm thinking, tripping over my own tongue. Ohtani pitching. So 6 innings, like I said. Just really. Now, the other thing to factor in here as well is we just talked about the Phillies bounce backs. We just talked about the weather condition, or we just talked about the bats and the hitting versus pitching perspective out there. It is lefty on lefty. I get that. However, you got to look at this wind is blowing straight out. 7 miles an hour. Going to gust up to 12. This is this is hitting conditions weather. Absolutely hitting conditions weather out there. And I'm just going to trust the guy that I know that's been doing it just more consistently over the course of the season. Blake Snell's, you know, just doesn't have enough for me to get excited about it. You know, and I look at some of these stats against these guys. I mean, look, man for man, power for power, position for position, every advantage on the Philly side of things. So when I talk about every advantage, I'm not just being an arbitrary, this is my team type of situation. Look, Blue Jays are my team. You know, I've made that clear. That's my AL East team. And I'm excited for what they're doing out there. You know, and the thing that they've got going on is they've got depth. Their 7, 8, and 9 guys are firing the ball like a fucking piss missile all over the yard. I talked about pitching. Why do some teams just have why do their starter, why are they big favorites? Why are they winning? Well, because my one versus your one is a better one, right? My starting pitcher versus yours and second pitcher versus your second. And some teams are at the mercy of their number 1 pitcher is really a number 2. So they're fucked pretty, and that's like a White Sox. It's like an Athletics. It's like a National. Well, Nationals a little bit, sure. And so I kind of do the same correlation when it comes to looking at these numbers. Ohtani against Luzardo. He's got a 282. Well, on the other side, the number 1 is Trey Turner against Blake Snell. And Trey Turner's got a 304. It's an advantage for the number 1 guy in the Phillies. Schwarber, 240. Mookie Betts is a 258. So I'll give him that. It's fucking Mookie, though. What are you going to do? Bryce Harper, 261. Tasker Hernandez, 247. Alex Bohm coming back in, rested, recharged, ready to roll, 290 versus a 295 on Freddie Freeman. Close. Slight edge to Freddie. It is Freddie, though. So these are the star power. Now, my point was looking at some of the depth as you get deeper into the bullpen or into the batting order. Kiki Hernandez. I don't give a fuck, like Kiki says. 203. Nick Castellanos is in the 6 hole. He's got a 250. That's a significant advantage. More at-bats, twice as many at-bats with a bigger ass. Now that's number 6. 7, Rojas, 262. Edmundo Sosa, 276. Depth outperforming. Think about this like what you can expect to see from Toronto Blue Jays. Page 272. Brandon Marsh, a 280. And then the number 9 position, the old cleanup role, the center. I'm sorry, the catcher center. Thinking hockey. Ben Ruffin, the lefty, is hitting 095 against Jesus. Otto Kemp, a 234. Twice as many at-bats. 3 times the success. Almost 4 times the success. So, I don't want to hear it. I'm not buying it. I don't think this is a spot where you want to be on the Dodgers. I think you want to see runs. I think you want to see the over. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. But I really like that parlay a lot. I think we'll talk about the baseball side of things here in just a minute. But wanted to get that out. We'll see what's going on with these games. Now watch, as I'm saying all that, let me pull up baseball and see that I'm already down like 6-0. Nope. Good. Phew. Be that confident and arrogant about it, only to find out we're getting down and busted up early. So anyhow, you guys, a big week ahead. We'll talk about a lot of fun stuff coming up. What's going on here? Okay. And we've got action already recorded for the week. The Dana White Contender Series will be out tomorrow. The MMA, the UFC show is out there for you guys to consume from VB MMA Picks. Of course, you'll remember we talked about it. They rank them. They rank them, boys. They got over 30. I think it's 25 or 30,000 cappers that submit entries. Some pay, some charge, some are free. VB MMA Picks ranks number 4. 4. You get them here. You get them for free. All you got to do is go check it out. Hit that thumbs up button. Show some support on that video. If you like betting UFC like we do, you don't want to miss out on one of the best cappers in the world to do it. And he's doing it right here on our channel. So it is no bullshit. It is legitimate. You guys can go check it out for yourself and see not just the plays. You'll see his record. Breaks it all down so you can get into the details. It's fucking shit. I couldn't believe myself today when I start giving out a best bet and track it. What a fucking clever idea. It's also the same show that said, you can't come on and give out plays anymore if you're not playing, which I'll tell you guys, I really do get the enthusiasm out of spending time coming in here. And I love this community that we've built because you guys are all sharing your hard-earned money in terms of making plays, making decisions, putting that cash out on the line, and not just throwing fucking, it's the old wet shit philosophy. You take a real wet shit and you throw it up against the wall and hope it sticks. And you do that enough and maybe you'll be a winner. That's not how you want to do this thing. So anyhow, tomorrow, happy NHL season opener eve. The first game will pop off at 5 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. They only have a 3-pack, but the NHL is back. I'm fired up. I'm ready to attack. Made one preseason play. I lost it. That sucks. But, look, it is what it is. Not gonna let that look. We dominated baseball. We dominated hockey. Put up almost 100 units last year in the NHL. 66 the year before that? Not a fluke. Now there's some cappers I respect out there in the NHL world. The ones that take the time to want to learn. Not the ones that maybe look at other sports and they say, what do they say? There's so much happening in the sport. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to keep trying the same thing over and over and red X'd. True story. Anyways, we got baseball. WNBA is winding down. The NBA is winding up. Now, look, I'm not a fuck around and find out what the preseason game in the NBA. I may toss a play. The thing for me, and here's what I would suggest to you guys as you start these seasons up here. Remember, NHL is a money line sport, right? It's like baseball. You got the starting pitchers, much like goaltenders. A lot of corollaries, a lot of comparisons between the NHL and Major League Baseball. Then you look at the NBA, it's like the NFL. It's a point spread game, right? Minus 10s, minus 12s, minus 15s. There's a gap. There's a fucking line, and there's a shitload of teams below the line and only a few that are above it, but you're going to pay up. And my point is, remember what we did last year? We had a stable of players. We had a stable of hosts. And we were plugging and playing them throughout the, either they would be parlayed together or we'd parlay the money line with the player prop and get the juice down to minus 110. So now that we've got, preseason NBA coming out here pretty ferociously, start taking a peek at some of these box scores. Take a look at some of those players that we had last year. You're going to want to think about that as it relates to the NHL shots on goal parlays. Now, early in the season, you'll find 2.5s on shots on goal. After a month, they'll probably make an adjustment. The star players that are clearly out shooting everybody, they'll make them 3.5s. So we got to be selective in when we get involved with them fellas. But I think it's important to take some time to do that now because, man, in literally 2 weeks, we will have the NFL, college football during the week, by the way, college football weekday action. We'll have Major League, we'll have NBA, we'll have NHL, we'll have whatever the fuck else, women's cheerleading or volleyball or whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm a fan of all of them. So that's my thoughts on intro. Somebody messaged me twice, knowing damn well. Why even bother? Why even bother? All right. Dodgers and Phillies. Just gave you guys those plays out there. Let's see how this thing evolves. I'm hoping for some runs. Hoping to see runs. 3 up, 3 down. We'll see what happens. It's a long game. I hate watching inning by inning. There's so little action, but so much involvement, so much investment. The Cubs and Brewers. Brew Crew beat the dog shit out of the Cubs the other day. So we'll talk a little bit about that game. And then Monday Night Football. I've got 2 plays right now for Monday Night Football. A total and a prop. I already gave you guys a total yesterday. So I'll talk about it. We'll share it. I'll share the trends with you guys there and see how we're going to try to get paid in that business. And then we're going to go live tonight. Monday Night Football. Why the heck not? Now, disappointing to see them Bills take the big L yesterday. Positive side. I think 2,000? Almost 2,000 people got knocked out of the survivor pool. Believe we're down to, I just did a quick math. I want to say we're down to like 3,500 or so. So look, we started with 95 or so, 190, almost 10,000 people. First prize is $50K. If you're still alive, we're less than half the pool left. It's great. And it's early enough in the season that you don't have to start. I mean, soon enough, we'll have to start doing 2 teams. We'll have to start doing 2 team pops. But shut up. Okay. I lost my second chance survivor. Let's talk about it. Fucking Arizona. It's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine and he was like, I'm going to use Arizona for the big survivor. It's like they're playing the Titans. And I said, it's not a terrible strategy. I had already used them prior to. So as we were discussing it, I was like, I'm going to use them for my second chance survivor. And they were up. What continues to reign domination across the the National Football League? Fourth quarter overs. 16 points scored by the Titans in the fourth quarter to a shutout on the Cardinals. They come back and win the game 22-21. Kyler Murray got banged up, got replaced from the game, removed from the game is what I was trying to say out there. But there was a lot of big comebacks yesterday, man. The Seahawks blew it to the Bucs. Buccaneers continue to find a way. They're only L on the season. Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, some of y'all were surprised when I gave out the Denver Broncos. I told you, that's a bad Eagle spot. It was a bad Eagle spot for a bunch of reasons. The level of competition, more about what's at stake for the Broncos. The Broncos had this game circled, teed up, ready to go, and we saw the offense for the Eagles kind of flatline in the second half, the last 2 weeks. And with fourth quarter scoring, and you're not putting points up in the fourth quarter, yeah, of course we're taking the Broncos. And they put up 18 points to 0 in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter over. A.J. Brown, he kind of fucked up. Kind of screwed the pooch there. I think they're going to be fine. Let's not overreact. They suck, this and that. Listen, stop it. Stop it. Their next 3 games, Giants, Vikings, Giants. They'll be all right. Then they got the Packers. That's the nice little rematch from the start of last season. Then they play the Lions. It's going to get a little dicey. That Lions. Then guess what? And this is going to suck. This is going to suck. November 23rd. I'll give you the play right now. Dallas Cowboys, whatever the spread is, sprinkle the money line. Yeah, I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to fade the Eagles. But it's that post-Lions spot. Post-Lions. It's more about the post-Lions than it is the Cowboys. Plus the Cowboys, you know, they'll be on their second game against Philadelphia in the division. So they're going to be looking to exact some revenge. So that's the way that cookie crumbles. Bunch of maniacs on the Browns this weekend here. And that made no sense. 9 a.m. game in London. And you got a rookie making his NFL debut. I don't care if it was. It's Carson Wentz. What were you thinking? Raiders suck. They're fucking awful. But Danny Dimes, Indiana Danny, it's been really impressive. Second quarter, 20 points. Third quarter, 20 points. So I'll say that Cowboys, you know, they beat up on the Jets and everyone's enamored. Oh, they put up 37 points. It was the fucking Jets. Chill out. When that game's matter, Dak Prescott doesn't matter. That's the fact. And I think the biggest fall from grace for me was the Ravens. Seeing that 44-10 beatdown by the Texans here. It's ugly. I mean, I expect the Bengals to be bad. In all fairness, 30 points in the fourth quarter. Guys, I'm telling you, these fourth quarters are a real thing. Check them out. Guess what I'll be playing tonight? I'll be playing the fourth quarter tonight. So, look, talked about the Phillies losing. I'll talk about the Toronto Blue Jays winning. That's always a good feeling out there to see that happening now. 2-0 against them Yankees. And you know the best part about this next game? It's Bieber. Shane Bieber on the bump. They brought him in late season for this reason. I suspect that game goes under with Rodon and Bieber. At least the first 5. So, and then the WNBA, I don't know. Look, get this fucking thing over with already. You know? Do we need any more of these games? We've had a good season. But Las Vegas is about to put them to sleep. I would not be surprised to watch. I mean, it's a Wednesday game, so we got some time. We got to see what the injuries look like here. But Phoenix is a 4.5-point favorite at home. I wouldn't be surprised to watch them get thumped. Take the outright L. Kind of a solo schedule spot in the calendar. And the Aces were back-to-back defending champs until the New York Liberty picked it up last year. So injuries are beside them. They're out there kicking the shit out of them. And that first game we covered Friday was a big cover on Friday. We had the first half +2. They won the first half outright. We had the full game +3.5. They lost by 3. Covered by the hook. So all you can ask. All you can ask. Let's get to the business here. We only got 2 spots left to discuss on the card. And then I know somebody had messaged me and said, "Hey, can you give me a preseason basketball game?" You don't want my preseason basketball game on the first day of a full card. Let me tell you that. If you were looking for a spot, I would probably take the Grizzlies +3.5 against the Pistons. But that's just because of home court dominance, and I don't know. I'm gonna paper track it for a little bit, see what's going on, build my stable. Strategically, I'm sharing with you guys exactly the way that I go about trying to do this thing here, because you'll see some of these teams, Dallas Mavericks are -4.5. Well, if you can prop something in alongside of that Dallas money line, screw those 4.5 points, just win the game, and you might even turn that into a plus money opportunity to shoot. So that said, Man, 5 p.m. The Blackhawks and the Florida Panthers. It's banner night tomorrow. It's 5 p.m. So it's going to be before we get going with this show. It's banner night. Matthew Tkachuk's out. They just launched a hefty fine. The biggest fine I think they said in the NHL, right to the Florida Panthers. Cheat. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, I guess. It's that we talked about that though. It's the post, your player goes on the IL and you can stick them back in and not be penalized. And there's no salary cap in the playoffs. You just have to pay a penalty. So expected, it was coming. It came. They're going to pay it. They're going to deal with it. And I think the last but not least, I haven't seen the official terms. I want to say it's 2 years and $20 million a year. I don't know for sure, but Connor McDavid. Now I've seen it say $12 million. I've seen it say $15 million. I don't really care. To me, I wonder why it's only a 2-year deal. Is he going to win a Stanley Cup with Edmonton? Or will he win it with anybody else? The Field or the Oilers? That's what we'll be talking about, I'm sure, for the next couple of seasons. So let's get to business, you guys. Only 2 spots left to cover, so let's get to it. Already gave you guys that player prop with the Imanaga part on the front end of this thing. Jesus got a strikeout. Blake Snell's got a strikeout. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get to business. You guys know the deal, though. Smashing that thumbs up button is the most important way to say thanks for doing this thing on a regular basis. All we ask you to do is take a second, give it a smash, and maybe even make a comment post-show about a play you're tailing, a play you're fading, a play you like we didn't talk about. Let everybody eat. But in-show, thumbs up, post-show, comment. Take a second, give that thumbs up a click. Shout out to all you guys and girls. Get them in the chat. I want to talk about the plays that you guys are on. That's my favorite part. My favorite part of the show. Jimmy says Monday Sports. Michael Johnson likes the Doyers. Nicholas Handy's checking in. Michael Johnson says, what up, Mr. Mike? Got to get through this. Doyers game is starting. Nasty Nate says, told y'all, Alex by KO. Nasty Nate says, told y'all, Patriots money line. When you say Patriots money line every single week, it's hard to come back and be like, I told you so. Good for you, man. It was a big weekend for Nasty Nate. Looked like he was having a good old time out there. Michael Johnson says, Alex, pop that boy. All right, listen. It's the first time I've really been upset by the UFC. I mean, Judge Fuckery, we're always rooting for it if it's our guy not looking good, and you guys will root for it if it's your guy not looking good. I love it. I don't care. That's all part of the banter, and this whole thing is geared around, hey, we're watching sports together. You're going to have people on the opposite sides. To come out of everything was fucking hurt in that fight. Neurovirus, broken foot, broken hand. And then on the other side of things, Pereira's got a broken foot, allegedly. I was a little disappointed with that because it is big money that I dropped down on those things. And I don't know. I don't know how they regulate it. I don't know what they do. Like, I was talking yesterday. I think I was talking a little bit on the live stream. I said, we do a pretty good job trying to find out, like, if the guy's got a staph infection or something like that, or they've got the cupping. Like, we can try to use some visual, cues to identify if there's going to be an issue with somebody or not. But to come out after the fight and say that everything was fucked up, it's like, dude, you got knocked the fuck out. And he cost me a bunch of money. So I was a little disappointed with that. But I mean, Alex's foot too. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up because I mean, it came out of the literally everything was big favorite, busted up, man. It's just it was disappointing finish. I'm a little salty from the loss on that main event card. Nina drama curse kind of went away, which is fine. I like Nina. like needing a drama. Most bet prop that night was Alex Pereira. KO. Crazy. Plus 300. Bet MGM. All right. Peter Grassi says, sup, Mikey? Let's go. Michael Johnson's checking in. He says, at Nasty, who you like tonight? Monday Night Football. Nasty Nate's going to go with the Chiefs in the first quarter. Worthy, over half a rushing yard. Snell, over 7.5 Ks. Nasty Nate says, bets, a hit. Snell, over 6.5 Ks and over 14.5 outs. Parlayed at plus 127. Like that move. Not so much the Snell Ks, but just the creativity to turn that into a plus money play. Nasty Nate says Hollywood Brown over 3.5 receptions. Jay Main in the house. Robert McCormick. Nasty Nate's got a Kelsey touchdown. Shout out to David Wallace. What's up? Magnifico. Got to keep riding the Tampa Bay Bucks. Yeah. What's up, Sandy? This is Phillies score first. Oh, I was looking. I was like, did they? Did they? Let's go. Magnifico says, I'll take them minus 2.5 versus the 49ers. Again, Abel A's got Dodgers in 6. That wasn't a strike 3 on Ohtani. Tarek B says, take both MLB games over. 9 Legacy. What up? Says, had the Broncos, Panthers, Titans, Bucks, New England. Talk about fire, fire, fire. This was the first week since, what was the stat? See if I can find the stat. Just try to kind of, just scrolling through, you start accumulating knowledge. Knowledge is power. Winning teams. 13-0 in week 5 against the spread. Winning teams have not gone a perfect ATS since week 3 of last season. Crazy. I know. I'd have to fact check that one a little bit, but I thought that was interesting. We talked about it again. Spread doesn't matter. Late betting is great betting. Get all the information you can. Beating the line by 1 doesn't matter. You took the Patriots. You got 4.5, and you're fucking circle jerking everyone about how you beat the number. You beat the number. Didn't matter. They went out right. Hopefully you sprinkled the money line. 7.5s. I mean, that's a big move. 7.5 to 4.5. I'd be like, yeah, I went out right, and I beat the line by 4. I get that. But Redbeard says throwing spaghetti at the wall. Yeah, that's the other one. The wet noodle. Same idea. The wall that doesn't exist, says Nicholas Handy. Real Jolly Roger says the other channels are jealous of Mike's. Oh, thanks, dude. I don't know about that. They'll take our names. They'll take our concepts. They'll learn. Hey, it's all right. We'll teach them all. M the Great says Mahomes over 250.5 passing yards. I'm looking forward to talking about this game. AOD's ready to roll. Pistons in 5. Sandy had Tennessee at plus 1,900. Damn. I think I went. What did I give out? I think I went 3-2 in the NFL yesterday. Let me check. Let's get to the bottom of this thing. Denver plus 4.5 cashed. Colts minus 7 cashed. Giants plus 2.5 did not cash. So there's 2-1 early selections. Seattle minus 3.5 shit the bed. It's 2-2. And then Tennessee plus 7.5 won. So I was at 3-2. And I gave out one more play that's for this evening's card. And then Sunday night, gave out the Bills minus 7.5. That sucked. Cook, first game in 10. He hasn't gone over his rushing and receiving yards. But I did give out Ramondre Stevenson. Got challenged a little on it. I said, this is their goal line vulture, man. Not 1, but 2 touchdowns for that guy. Gave him out live at halftime at plus 600. So it was a decent NFL day. I didn't really do much live betting. We gave out on the Sunday night show, the fourth quarter over Dawson Knox yardage prop. There was like one more. I can't remember. Just didn't have I don't know. I was live betting the Bills plus 3.5. So I guess that counts, but I don't know. That fucking game. What are you going to do? No big plus money spots for me though. So congratulations. Plus 1,900. Damn. Magnifico's got some NBA futures. Most improved player, Thompson. Got the sneeze out yet? No, dude, I don't. I think Oh, I don't know. No, I've been taking an allergy pill. I think it's allergies. It's amazing. No, I can still feel it like right inner eyeball. And the great says Travis Etienne over attempts and yards. Nicholas Handy says Cardinals. J-Bank Kyler Murray's horrible. Sandy says first W for Tennessee in a year and 6 days. J-Main, it's a bad KC spot tonight. Sandy says KC 6-2 all time versus the Panthers. Jaguars. Magnifico, 2 games, no touchdowns for Hurts. Both the tush push this week. Hurts anytime touchdown. Techby, has the rookie ever been out the U.S.? A lot of pressure. I don't know. That's a good question. That seems like a stupid spot to put your rookie in there. Unless the other guy's just so bad. Like, the only reason I would think about doing that is if he's like an absolute cancer in the locker room, you know? Like, get this guy out of here. But then I just outright drop him. So it's weird. What up, SF Niner? Says WNBA will drag it out. WNBA doesn't care about profit, dude. Abel A. rocking here. Tech Beast is Kareem Hunt. Anytime touchdown. Nasty Nate had the Eagles and SCN. Oh, dude, that sucks. SF Diner says might be Hurts last tush push league. Getting tired of it. I don't know. Stern Company. Hockey's back. Yes, it is. Tarek B says, Zalal, baby. And Alex covered Patchy's bullshit. Yep. Runa Run says, I don't think you have to look further than the spread to realize the game can be bad live, most likely because the books think it's going to be close. Oh, bet live. Okay, I see what you're saying. I got you. Room to Run says, the game just seems like a coin toss, so I want to put my money on it, maybe. All right. Let's go. Magnifico says, Montgomery and Lions money line was so easy. Trevor 85 says, when the 2 years is up, McDavid will be available for free agency when the salary cap is massive. That's kind of what I was thinking too. Manipulating the salary cap. And I hear Snell is serving. And he's got 3. All right. Let's do some damage. Let's make some money. Let's talk about these last 2 spots and bow this show. I got to get something to eat so we can get ready to enjoy an evening of adult beverages with you guys. There it is. There it is. Peter Grassi says Jacksonville and the under plus 6.5 teaser. Yeah, so I mentioned that the other day. I think you tease up, you don't tease down. No sense in well, that's what therein lies the question. Does the spread matter or not? And the case says, it's shot time. Not yet. All right, look, I already gave you the Imanaga piece of the parlay. I like Imanaga straight up. So you got to figure out, depending on what happens with Snell, how this thing's going to roll. But I told you guys the sneaker for me here is just recent performance, right? So we've talked about this enough. We'll just move pretty quickly through this thing. This last 6 starts, 31 innings, 33 hits, 22 earned runs. I suspect if the Brewers get to him, they don't keep him in there for that long. And then if you look at the Brewers, their BABIP, they're hitting some power, man. 319 against lefties. It's a low number, but it is juiced to the under for Shota Imanaga to get the under 3.5 strikeouts. So that being said, I think you get the short leash for Aaron Ashby because you've got Quinn Priester ready to fire on top of it. So you've got kind of this perfect storm brewing of a team that's smashing the ball. Pitchers getting tired, and it's not a surprise. This is long in the season for Japanese pitchers that aren't used to going, this season's just not as long. They just don't play as much. And so arms getting tired, the fatigue setting in, and that's where I thought the Imanaga spot made a lot of sense. Then on top of that, I thought, give me the fucking Brewers. Look, minus 118s, minus 120s, minus 136 now. So just in the last 40 minutes, this thing's been kicking. 71% of the bets, 71% of the cash. I think you're outdueled. You're outmatched. Now the total 7.5, 91% of the bets, 84% of the cash are on the over. I lean to the under in this game. But I think it's because the Cubs just can't find a way to produce. There's just too much on deck and at bat for, and you can get an 8, by the way. So I think this is just the opposite. I think they've got the benefit. They've got all the pressures on the Cubs. You need to find a way to sneak this W. You just got busted up. It's not a good matchup against these pitchers. Now, granted, they did score 3 runs that last game, but you know what we've talked about with the Cubs bats, they're feast or famine, and it seems to be. So goes Kyle Tucker, goes the offense, which is, I mean, not entirely true, but their guys are just not quite getting there. You know, PCH, Kyle Tucker never faced Aaron Ashby, so we don't know what he's going to do. PCH, 4 at-bats, never made any contact with Aaron Ashby, so how do you count on him? And really, your only guy that's got anything meaningful, 7 at-bats, 3 hits from Dansby Swanson in the 8-hole. And the wind's blowing in, by the way. But I think isn't this ballpark closed? I think it is. Goes back to the matchup to me. This isn't so much and I can give you some of the trends. I can tell you guys about some of this. Just sometimes I don't know that they matter as much. The Brewers are 7-0 against lefties if they played a game versus a lefty the previous game. Why is that one important? Because we talk about the spin and the rotational gyration of the ball and how it comes in at a different angle and a different rate of descent. Well, if they got comfortable and won, if they got comfortable and saw it, they're comfortable again going into that next game. They're also 10-0 as a favorite when they beat the team by 3 or more runs in the previous match. So when they got their number, they take a licking and keep on ticking. The Cubs got themselves in the 7-0 to the under spot. Total's bigger than a 7. On the road if the bullpen gave up 3 or more runs the previous game. I correlate that one to Cubs can't score enough runs. If they're seeing unders and the Brewers are red fucking hot right now, not going to see enough runs to go out there and be able to compete with these boys. So, excuse me, 9 p.m. start. Brewers, Cubs. I got to go Brew Dogs here. Brew Crew. Do what they do and get a nice price tag. Shop around. Do shop. I'll tell you right now. If you're with me on the Brew Crew, FanDuel seems to have the best number. And it's growing. It's minus 125s, minus 130s, 137s. Yeah. Do not wait. Do not sit and wait for this Brewers game if you are interested in playing it. I'm interested in playing it. We'll see what happens. Let's talk some Monday night football, and then we'll wrap things up. Get up out of here and get ready for a big Monday night football evening. Okay. Chiefs. Jaguars. Oops. Bear with me for one moment. Jeez, where were we? There's somebody knocking on the door. I'm like, who the fuck is knocking on the door? Coming in here like you, the law, motherfucker. All right, listen, if you know what movie that's from, that's a real treat that I just threw out there to everybody. Peter Grassi says DraftKings, Brewers minus 144. Yeah, dude. It's on the climb, baby. We're on the climb. All right. Where was I? Line open at 4.5. It's moved to 3.5. So there is some movement coming in on the Jaguar side of things here. And look at the numbers. 64% of the bets are on the Chiefs, 57% of the cash. Most believe in this old school thinking. Chiefs at a small number, you got to go smash. This line went from 47.5 to 45.5. 64% of the bets and 64% of the cash on the over. Now, look ahead numbers from 2-3 weeks ago versus like the week prior. A little bit different because it does tell a different story. Little bit to the fact that this number was 44.5 and it's moved up to 45.5 on the back number. That being said, 2-2 Kansas City struggled to start the season. Will they be okay? Well, we know the Baltimore Ravens are probably not going to be okay. That's the question. We had a fun little debate last night. Who's gonna get to the playoffs? And hey, look, the Jaguars are 3-1. You can only play who's in front of you, but I actually like the fact that they've had a softball schedule for the Jaguars. Softball meaning, like, let me define it. Carolina. Young team. Bryce Young, no pun intended. Cincinnati sucks. They lost to them, by the way. No Joey Burrow now. Houston just had that big win against the Ravens. They beat them 17-10. And then they were at San Francisco. Sharman saw 49ers, but 26-21, they beat them. They handed the San Francisco Giants their only loss, or San Francisco 49ers their only loss. What I like most about that, though, is it builds confidence. And you got these, it's a young team, but it's not rookies, right? So I talked a little bit about the evolution of Trevor Lawrence and ETN and, Travis Hunter. Now, I mean, they got some really good pieces. Now, Travis Hunter's obviously young. He's obviously a rookie, but the rest of them, not so much. And I think that gives them an opportunity here, getting confidence, getting some traction. It's not like they played the Chiefs day one and they got rolled, right? Now, the Chiefs just beat Baltimore. We'll give that one to them. They beat the Giants. They got beat by the Philly. They got beat by the Chargers. So you're sitting kind of middle of the road trying to define or determine what your season's going to look like here. And the problem I have, and I've said this, now we'll see if it comes to fruition or not, but the Chiefs are a little bit one-dimensional offensively. Whereas in years past, they were able to run the ball and pass the ball. Their running game just hasn't gotten going yet this season. And that to me is a problem because now you're one-dimensionally taking a pretty decent defense. And you're going to put your guy Mahomes in a bunch of shit look positions. Jags turn the ball over. They've been doing, fourth downs. They're moving they're just a grindy out kind of team. They want to run and they can pass, and they've got the arm of Trevor Lawrence to do it. Defensively, their defense ranks 6th against the run. It's even 16th against the pass. So it's kind of middle of the road, but it does force. And then on the other side of things, if you're Kansas City, your defense ranks 22nd against the run. So I think they get chunked this game. I think this is a spot where Jaguars come down. Yeah, probably the wrong team's favorite. Now, we've saw a bunch of fucking dogs. So it's a little scary, but the thing is there's issues that we have to look at. We'll see what it looks like when it comes down to game time decision for this defense with this Jaguars team. Murray and Walker. We'll see what happens with those guys. Ways that I'm going to play this game, I'm going to take on the over 45.5. Part of it is, look, I get the narrative. It's like 50-50 for primetime unders. So it's not as wide a margin as some people like to say. This season, that is. Now, listen, Kansas City, 8-0 to the over. They're on a team with a 2-game or more winning streak. Total's bigger than a 41.5. And the margin of over, they're averaging 55.2 points a game. Jaguars, 7-0. Dog spot. Last game, they averaged more than 3.3 rushing yards per attempt. Key factor as I looked at the breakdown of the running defense on this Kansas City side of things. Averaging 53 points a game. Jaguars, 27-0 to the over. 27 straight overs. Non-divisional, regular season, if they had more than 28 minutes of possession, averaging 54 points per game. All of those, to me, revolve around this is a tough matchup for Kansas City's defense to handle this running game. The running attack, and I think it's a good opportunity. I like the I'm going to go contrarian on some of these other spots, though, like LeQuint Allen. You're probably like, who? Backup running back at best. Best, I say. But his price tag is monstrous. He's like a $1,500, $1,600, depending on the book, to go out there and pop that thing in. So I'm going to scrub that down a little bit more. Other touchdown spots that I like, Tyquan Thornton. Why not? You know, the difference there is I don't want a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs because I just talked about the Jaguars defense, but their passing defense is middle of the road. And Thornton, by the way, he gets a ton of fucking red zone looks. Two more guys that I like here. Some player prop. I'm going to go heavy with the player props in this game tonight because that's where the success has been. Xavier Worthy, write this one down. So Xavier Worthy, big component in this offense. They weren't sure if he was going to play or not. He got a little banged up or whatever, but all intent and purpose, it looks like he's expected to play. They've been lining his props out there all day today, but he's an injury guy. So coming back from an injury, could very easily see him get dinged up a little bit. But if you focus on the early piece of it, 2 or more receptions in the first quarter is almost 2-1. It's like plus 185. I like an early start for Xavier Worthy. That way it kind of takes effect if he gets hurt. That comes out of the equation. You'll see I've got Brenton Strange. Tight end. Why do I like the tight end in this game? Because you're playing Kansas City. You're probably going to need to check it down a little bit. And who has he been checking it down to over the last 2 weeks? Brenton Strange. 14 attempts, 12 catches, 106 yards in the last 2 weeks for this guy. So 34.5. This one's moving 35.5 and 36.5. So I tried to scrub them down for you guys and find some of these spots and tell you why I think I like some of those angles. But that'd be the way that I'm going to go attack this game. I'm going to take the total. I know it's not pretty. It's not comfortable. And will I feel like an idiot? We're sitting here going, oh, it's fucking 6-3 at halftime. Yeah, I will. I'll still play the fourth quarter over because that's been firing for us. But Jay Main's got Mahomes over 36.5 pass attempts. I like that. It goes to the game plan. You're not going to run. You're not going to run against this Well, maybe they will, but you're not going to run against this Jaguars team in my estimation. And ETN is just too popular for me. Jay Main says Thornton over 16.5. He was 15.5. You know, there was something I wanted to share with you guys too. You want to talk about the ref report? Brad Rogers. Brad Rogers is a faculty member at Texas Tech. Going back to 2012. Mahomes played at Texas Tech in 2014 to 2016. So he knows him. And favorites with Rodgers as the lead official, 23-10 against the spread, 25-8 on the money line. So could be a tricky spot out there, but I do think this makes a lot of sense from a passing game. Jacksonville allows the third most pass attempts. That's because you don't want to run against this team. Kansas City allows the 9th most receptions to running backs. There's a little tricky spot for backup running backs situation. And I think that's the way we're going to put the bow on the show out there. I do think the running backs get more involved in the passing game. That's something I did want to comment on. And because of that, I do like Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 touchdowns, passing touchdowns. And I think he probably chunks a couple of them out there to his running backs, at least one of them. So in any event, that's it. We're at 7:00. Time to put this bow on the show. You guys, appreciate you checking in, tuning into what we got going on here. Good luck with all of your sports betting. Man, this game is flying. This Dodgers and Phillies game. 4th inning, 0s right now. Damn it. Where are we going to get some runs? Snell's sitting on 5 Ks. Shoo. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys all at 7:45. We'll get down and do the thing that we do. Good luck to everybody tonight, and I'll see you guys real soon. Take care.